This is the fifth one.
Fifth regional?
Yeah.
What region's got no rep the most?
Geez, that's a great question. I don't know. I'm not keeping score. I will say, and I'm a little biased, but I will say that so far NorCal has been the smoothest. But I don't know who's been the other end of things.
When you usually see a no rep happen, what's usually behind that?
Usually it's people trying to go too fast. For example, the deadlift this year, we see people just screaming through it. Not so much in the last workout where it's heavy, but in Diane and the team workout, you see the deadlifts just going crazy. People just miss that last little bit of extension. Same thing with the squats on workout 4. Depth is not quite there sometimes. Standing up all the way is overlooked. And usually it's just a factor of speed. People, when they start going really quick, they just get those other ends kind of missed, you know. So, I mean, I think it's no mistake or no coincidence that the best guys on the field often have very good technique. I mean, you look at you know, the guys that have made it all the way through the snatch ladder. I mean, you don't do that with terrible technique, you know. You see the guys that are very good at the last workout that has a lot of different skills and mixes and things like that. You don't see guys that do really well at that have poor technique. But at the same time, there's always going to be a fundamental difference between a competitive environment and a training environment. And in a training environment, you know, you're going to be maximizing that efficiency and economy of technique and trying to make sure that everything's where it should be so that when you come out here you can rely on that training during the competitive atmosphere. And I think you see that in any sport. You know, you look at competition weightlifting or powerlifting or speed skating or whatever, it doesn't matter. The way you practice, you're going to try to get close to that in competition, but because you're pushing the boundaries, it's not always going to be possible. So
you need a lot of technique to succeed in baseball. You need a lot of technique to succeed in basketball. Do you think CrossFit can kind of be on that same? Can you put CrossFit in that same group?
I think it's too soon to tell. CrossFit as a sport is still so young that a lot of the techniques that you're seeing in the competitive environment are still being developed and smoothed over, and that's a really tough question because it requires a lot of speculation. I mean, I think it's really foolish for anybody to say at this stage of the game that a competitive CrossFitter lacks technique or doesn't need a variety of skills and techniques to be successful. I don't think anybody can argue that anymore. Maybe back in 2008 people could say that, but not these days. These guys are way too good. I just love that every week people are getting better and better. They're learning from the regions that came previous. They've had a little bit more time to study up and get comfortable with some of the more difficult movements. So it's like every region seems to get faster and better and more familiar. And you know, I've been lucky enough to be involved with the CrossFit Games side of things since 2008 back in Aromas. And it still is just, it really makes me smile to stand out here and like look at this. And I mean, like, look at this, you know, like where are we? This is crazy. And to see the level that these guys are competing on and know that if any one of them were to show up in 2008, it would have been a whole different story. You know, I mean, what we're seeing today versus what we saw even 2-3 years ago, the level is just rising so fast. It's awesome to be a part of, you know.